Hey, what's up guys? So about 2 weeks ago, Escort released a series of updates for a bunch of their windshield mount detectors, including the Redline 360C. And since then, it's really improved the detector to the point where it's now become my new daily driver. I've really been enjoying the detector with this latest update. And in this video, I want to give you guys kind of like a 2-week update as far as what we've been seeing with some additional testing, kind of my updates as far as BSM filtering, which is really good. Not perfect, but really good now. And also talk about, like, should you get a Redline? I know a lot of people have been interested and been asking about it. Should you get it instead of like an R8 or a V1 or something? I think in some situations, yes, but in other situations, not necessarily. So I want to go into a little bit more discussion about maybe like who the Redline is best suited for, and also situations where maybe a different detector might be a better choice. All right, so as far as this new update that came out recently, I've done another video that you can check out that goes over that. A couple changes. The biggest change that I've been noticing is the blind spot filtering. It's now excellent. I've driven for, again, about the past 2 weeks or so. I've gotten maybe 3 BSM falses, and they've been on cars that I don't even like recognize. So a lot of the typical stuff, your Mazdas, Hondas, Acuras, it's got them taken care of to the point where I can turn off the cable lock feature and it's still filtering them without having that like heavy aggressive filter around 24.199-ish. So overall, the filtering, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than what I've been seeing at the V1, the Unidens, etc. Other detectors for that same amount of driving, maybe I'd get like 30, 40 BSM falses. With Redline, like maybe 3. So really impressive stuff there. The responsiveness, there's been a lot of testing on that as well for both K and KA. It's basically on par with like the V1 Gen 2 now on K-band. It's not lightning quick like the Uniden is, but it's reasonable. Same thing now on KA band. The other 2 detectors are still faster. So the R8 and the V1 Gen 2, those are still going to be much more responsive on KA band. And if you face a lot of like instant on KA in the mountains or something, in that situation, I do think that the V1 or the R8 would still be the better option. But as like kind of an all-around balanced detector, for reasonable responsiveness, good range, much better blind spot filtering than all the other stuff too, I think it's a good all-around choice. And if I know nothing about you or where you drive or your needs or something, I think kind of the Redline is like a good just sort of default pick, is like the best choice. Now that said, it's $799, right? It's an expensive detector. And there are other choices where you can maybe save a little bit of money and still get a good experience. Now I've recently switched over to the Max 360C Mark II instead. Same idea as the Redline. It's a little bit cheaper, right? You're gonna save yourself $100, sometimes a little bit more, because they do tend to go on sale. But there's really kind of 2 things to know about as far as like the differences primarily between the Redline and the Max 360C Mark II. Number 1 would be the range. The Redline is going to have longer range. It's got kind of better antennas, right? Bigger horns, and so it's going to do a better job of actually picking up signals far away. Escort has improved the range on the Max series detectors. It was already all right. They've improved it here. We do still need to do some testing to find out for sure exactly what it's like. But I think for most people, it should still be good as well. Now, the other difference is going to be the RDD immunity. The Redline is a stealth detector. So if you're driving in banned areas, for example, some people do like having a detector that's undetectable by radar detectors. The Redline has that capability. The Max series detectors do not. Here in the United States, most of us don't need that feature, and so if you don't need the RDD immunity, and you're like, I don't need the craziest long range possible, I want, you know, like reasonably good range, in that situation, you can grab the Max 360C Mark II and save yourself $100, if not more. Now, another option to consider is, like, I know a lot of people don't have Wi-Fi in their car, and if that's you, well, the Max 360C with the Wi-Fi might wind up being a waste of money in some respects, because there's now the non-Wi-Fi version that's available, the Max 360 Mark II, the non-C version. C for connected, like connected car. So if you don't have Wi-Fi in your car, you can go for the Max 360 Mark II, and that's going to save you even more money on top of the Redline. And so as far as like bang for the buck, so to speak, even though it's not a cheap detector, right? The Escorts tend to cost more than some other brands. The Max series detectors are, I think, going to be a better value if you don't need the craziest long range possible, and you don't need the RDD immunity, right? Now, I know some people are going to be like, hey, if I'm going to drop that kind of cash on a detector, I just want to go for the best one, right? I don't want to go for like 80% of the way, 90% of the way. I want to go for the Redline. Awesome. In that case, go for that. If, on the other hand, you want to save $100, $200, etc., and like you just want, you know, good enough range, in most situations, you should be just fine. Same sort of blind spot filtering. I've been driving around, no falses here on it the whole time I've been shooting the video, which is great. Same kind of back end and processing. So like BSM filtering, same kind of thing. The Redline is just the advantage of the better horn, does a better job of picking up weaker signals farther away. So to save some cash, I think the Maxes could be a good idea. And I'm always, again, looking for situations like, how can we save you guys some cash, you know? So the Redline, totally go for it. It's a great detector. Still think of it as like my daily, but to save some cash, the Maxes are a good option. The R8s, I like them for their kind of responsiveness and whatnot, but I think the Redline kind of all around for the most part, it's gonna be the better detector. V1, awesome choice. They actually did just raise their pricing on the V1. They raised it by $100 recently, so it's not as big of a price savings anymore. It still does cost less, of course, and you've got some awesome options for the apps to add in the functionality. It doesn't have photo radar detection. If you don't need that, of course, not a big deal. The apps are awesome on the V1, but that's another good option too. But if you've been looking at the Redline to get the better blind spot filtering, particularly over the V1 and over the unit detectors, the Redline's a good choice, but there's also the Maxes that you can consider as well. And so I just kind of wanted to do a quick update as far as what we've been seeing here in testing and in driving like this, and also kind of go over some of the options that are available. So links to everything that I talk about will be down in the description as always. And so thanks so much. Hope you guys are doing great, and I'll see you in the next video.